If anyone's wondering, by the way, what this is my microphone with a sock on it because I'm too much of a cheapskate to pay £10 for the muff. For this thing. It's called a muff, I think. We'll leave it at that. At the time of recording this, it was World Mental Health Day yesterday, on the 10th of the 10th, and I was genuinely surprised by the response of that. Even though I had an awareness of how many people have a mental health issue of some kind, it was a shock, if anything, that there was a lot of people I didn't expect to have undergo such suckness, if anything. Depression sucks. Depression is honestly not the greatest. I don't think anyone is gonna disagree with me there. Anxiety sucks in general. Even when you have, well, I would consider myself to have a sort of mental health issue of some kind. I would say generally I have depression, some sort of depression or anxiety. I don't like talking about it, as I feel that a lot of people see as an excuse of some sort. I do. I feel like I have some sort of mental illness of some kind, and it's difficult. It is difficult, to say the least. It's not something that I think a lot of people talk about, and I'm thankful that a lot of people did actually end up talking about it yesterday, and I just wanted to basically give you my own little take on it. So back when I was about 19, I had a gap here in between sixth form and university, and that's when I first started really noticing some stages of depression of some sort. I was feeling very low. I was feeling just very down about everything. I felt just overall defeated. That was the kind of what it felt like to me. I just felt defeated. I felt like I wasn't really worth for that. Once I got to university, this would go away. It was just a one-off thing, and it's just a circumstance of what I had. Once I did get to university, once I did start my first year, about a month or two in, it still sat there. It's still I still felt depressed. I still felt like my mood hadn't lifted. And that was when I noted that, yeah, maybe this isn't a one-off thing. Maybe that year alone affected me for the rest of my life, if anything. I felt like, yeah, it might have just carried on into university, and I thought, I might be able to handle this. It only took until I was about 22 for me to really crash. Basically, all four pillars of my life, my relationship, my work, my friends, and my family, just collapsed all on the same time, or all around the same time. I felt incredibly down. I felt incredibly just defeated in general. It sucked. It really did suck. It sucked in general. Never felt that low. I felt like at that point in time, I didn't know what to do. I really didn't. I honestly never felt this low at this point, and the only other time was when I was 19. I, at that point, realized that, okay, this isn't just gonna be a one-off thing, and I needed to do something. And at that time, I felt, the way I perceived it was that I could just fix it. That this could be cured, and it'll go away eventually. During those 6 months, I realized that this isn't something to fix. This is something that doesn't get cured, and I might end up with this for a longer period of time than I thought. It was around this time that I realized that maybe I've had this for a lot since childhood. I basically went to the doctors, I explained the whole situation, and when she asked, how long do you think this has been going on for, I generally had to pause, think back, and I just kept going. It was literally, I thought it was just when I was 19, and then it just kept going all the way back. I think it really did start around when I was 10. If I had to be honest, like, I feel like it might be just an exaggeration, like, oh, you're just a child, that kind of stuff. But if I had to actually pin a point where it may have started, it might have been around 10, and that was a shock and a half to realize that this may have been an underlying problem for years and I've never addressed it. How could I have addressed it when I didn't know what it was until much later? I never felt that low, even though I felt pretty low overall around the time I was 22, that I felt just completely defeated. Everything just collapsed in on me. I felt that at this point, I can't continue. This is just way too much, and what's the point? I basically went to the GP. I had 20 milligrams of citalopram, and that was meant to stabilize my mood. It was essentially my idea that, hey, this is going to cure me. What it's meant to be is to be a mood stabilizer. It's meant to just overall stabilize your mood, and eventually you'll be able to just go about your day without it really hindering you. Honestly, I felt lower on the medication than I did before, and that really just whacked me out. I started drinking a hell of a lot more, going out a lot more as well, just to basically, because I felt I needed new friends as well. I've got to that point where I pretty much just cut off ties with as many people as possible, and overall just went into kind of a, what's the point? I might as well just do what I want to do and have no consequences whatsoever. And that was the shock to me. Obviously the drugs need a little bit more time to kind of sit in and kind of attune to how you feel. Like, after a while it got better. After a while I felt better because the mood stabilizers settled, and I started feeling way better. I started actually sorting things out in and around my life, and that made me feel better. Once you start moving, once you start actually dealing with the issue and talking about it, it felt a lot better. And after a while I said, yeah, I want to, I feel like I could go on without this. Once I went to the GP, I told him the situation. I then basically recounted everything that happened and stuff like that, and the GP basically said to me, you got worse. Like, you've gone worse. Like, this sounds like abysmal. And she upped the dosage to 40 milligrams of citalopram, and that just crushed me. That was, at that moment I realized, like, yeah, I've seen this happen to one person before, where they'll take one drug, it's not enough, it'll go to another, and I knew the path that would lead. It was also around this time I just had this just horrid panic attack. I was working one night at the bar that I was working at the time, and I saw someone walk in, and honestly, my mind just went to mush. It just started basically going in a loop where it was, oh, this person doesn't like me, oh, maybe all girls don't like me, oh, maybe everyone doesn't like me, can I ever be happy, that kind of stuff. And it just went into a thought spiral, just went so down into that thought spiral. My stomach started churning. I had to leave. I walked out the fire exit around the back. I sat in the alleyway behind the bar and just cried, and it was soul crushing. It really was. And after that, I had to walk in 20 minutes later and explain what happened. Luckily, my general manager, thank God, was incredibly nice and understood what was happening. But if it was anyone else, I may have not got that much of sympathy or empathy, for that matter. But luckily, I was surrounded with a lot of people that had a lot of empathy for what I was going through, and After that, I stopped taking the medication and started doing things to really improve my situation. I'm not going to say that medication isn't for you. If you are going through anything, it's a lot for me to just say don't do it, because depression is, and anxiety as well, is incredibly different from person to person. If you need medication, take it for sure. Like, it does help, but for me, it just, because depression is different from person to person, I felt that for me it doesn't help. It just made me feel worse. I would say that ever since I felt better, I wouldn't say I am 100% like cured. I have not been cured. I'm not any different to what I was before, I would say, but I feel a lot better now. I feel that I can handle myself a lot better. There's still a lot of days where I'll just want to stay in bed. I mean, it's a pretty comfy bed, I'm not gonna lie. I feel that I'm able to at least get through life a lot better. I can actually handle myself in social situations. Overall, it became more of a, I gotta have to improve my situation rather than cure it. Once I started figuring that out, I started making steps to actually improving my situation. I started doing meditation to really help with those thought spirals. I also started doing exercise and trying to get into exercise. I also recently stopped drinking just because it was just making me more miserable and wasn't really helping. So even though there's still a lot I have to do, and then obviously I feel like a hypocrite for saying that you should be doing this and that, but this is the sort of stuff that has helped me, and a lot of stuff that has got me through my depression and anxiety. Life doesn't have to suck. Sure, yeah, life is hard and it's gonna be tough, but it doesn't have to suck completely. It doesn't have to be as tragic as it is. You can make it better. That's the only thing that's really got me going, was thinking that it could be better. And if I didn't do that, then I wouldn't be here. So I'm just glad to have had friends that were really there to help me, and really anyone that really helped me and supported me through that dark time. I don't think this is should be the end of the conversation. I think the fact that I was surprised by the amount of people that were saying that they were depressed or they were having anxiety issues was staggering to me, to be honest. And I don't think this is going to be the end of it. It's tough. It is really tough, but things do get better. And if this helps at least one person, then I take that as a success. Thanks again for listening to me ramble. I mean, I didn't expect to make a video or anything today, but I guess I just had to vent out that frustration. So thanks for listening. I hope you're all doing great and have a good weekend. See ya.